My name is Michael Polite, and I am an unorthodox member of the Seventh-day Adventist denomination. And that does not mean that I am not a Seventh-day Adventist member in good and regular standing. Of late, many members have begun to feel as if being orthodox is the only way to be considered a true and faithful Seventh-day Adventist member. We have even seen an escalation in rhetoric from our General Conference leaders, suggesting that if an individual or an entity is not in direct alignment or in direct compliance with a decision made by the General Conference while in session, then that individual or that entity is not only out of compliance with a human-made structure, but also out of compliance with the providential will of God. The implications of such a toxic push for conformity are devastating, to say the least. The Advent message did not find its early momentum because it aligned with institutional values, because it was financed, nurtured, and affirmed by institutional leaders. No, in fact, the Adventist message was first proliferated by a small group of unashamed revolutionaries who would not relent just because they did not receive approval from their institution's leaders. They understood that a part of Jesus' mission to the planet was not simply to provide ransom for sin, but also to tear down the centralized religious structure of his day and to reinstitute a decentralized model that would evangelize the entire planet. Out of all the charges levied against Jesus at his trial, maybe the most compelling and most often repeated charge was against his claim that he would tear down the temple and then rebuild it without hands in just 3 days. Now, Jesus' claim is not primarily offensive to the institutional leaders due to it being interpreted as a planned act of terror. It is firstly offensive because it advocates for the decentralization of power and spiritual authority. Where once the institutional leaders could call the masses of millions to comply and obey what had been decided while they were in session, they would no longer have access to this level of influence underneath Jesus' new decentralized model for spiritual leadership. And as our General Conference leadership once again strikes up this age-old debate, advocating for the centralization of power within our denomination, I want to suggest an alternative. I want to suggest that we need a revolution. We need another group of unashamed spiritual misfits who will combine their energies and collaboratively pursue this one goal and outcome: to get our denomination back to being the movement it was meant to be. For the Bible says in Acts chapter 4 that the apostles, along with other believers, would all get together once a week to celebrate what God was doing through their revolutionary movement. And I think it's time for us to gather too. I believe that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of other biblically minded, unorthodox Seventh-day Adventist members. And we need to get together. We need to get together on March 22nd and 23rd of 2019 in the city of Indianapolis so we can see what God can do through unorthodox revolutionaries. My name is Michael Polite, and I am just one of thousands who are part of this revolution.